The story unfolds aboard the Imperial Dreadnought Sovereign Wrath, a colossal vessel that drifts through the vastness of space with an air of invincibility. Commanded by the stern and calculating Fleet Commander Drex Valerian, the ship embodies the Dominion's might and arrogance. Drex stands on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the screens that display the cosmos beyond, when a peculiar sight captures his attention. A small, unassuming craft, the Horizon Ascend, has entered Dominion territory. This vessel, primitive in appearance, seems out of place among the sleek and formidable ships of the Dominion. Its hull lacks the ornate designs and powerful energy nodes that signify advanced technology. Drex and his crew, seasoned in the art of galactic dominance, scoff at the sight. To them, the Horizon Ascend is a mere curiosity, a testament to Earth's naivete. They mock its presence, convinced that no species could develop faster than light travel without external aid, suspecting theft rather than innovation. With a voice that carries the weight of authority, Drex hails the Horizon Ascend, demanding submission and compliance. Aboard the human vessel, Captain Elias Carter stands resolute, his demeanor calm yet unyielding. Faced with the imposing force of the Dominion, Captain Carter and his crew remain steadfast. They communicate their peaceful intentions and assert their independence, hoping to bridge the gap between their worlds with diplomacy rather than conflict. However, the Dominion, entrenched in its belief of superiority, views humanity's claims with disdain. The notion of a primitive species daring to defy their commands is met with contempt. Drex, unwilling to entertain the idea of negotiation, orders the Horizon Ascend to be boarded and inspected, a clear violation of the autonomy Captain Carter fiercely protects. Refusing to yield, Captain Carter denies the boarding request, igniting Drex's ire. With a swift command, Drex fires a warning shot, a beam of lethal energy that streaks across the void, striking the Horizon Ascend with devastating force. The human vessel shudders under the impact, its systems flickering, but its spirit remains unbroken. In a desperate countermeasure, the Horizon Ascend retaliates, unleashing its rudimentary weapons. The attack, though modest, surprises the Dominion. The unique energy frequencies employed by the Horizon Ascend bypass the Sovereign Wrath's shields, inflicting minor damage. This unexpected turn of events leaves Drex and his crew momentarily stunned, their confidence shaken by the audacity of the human vessel. Seizing the moment, Captain Carter orders an emergency warp, the Horizon Ascend vanishing into the depths of space, leaving the Dominion bewildered and humbled. As the Sovereign Wrath drifts in silence, Drex contemplates the implications of this encounter. A primitive species, daring and resourceful, has challenged the Dominion's perception of invulnerability. The Horizon Ascend, battered and scarred, drifts silently through the void as it makes its way back to Earth. Its hull bears the wounds of the Dominion's power, scorched and dented from the warning shot that had nearly obliterated it. Inside, the crew moves with a grim determination, their faces pale but resolute. The air is thick with tension, a mix of fear and resolve as they carry back the knowledge of what lies beyond the stars, a galaxy not filled with wonder, but ruled by an empire of cold, unyielding oppression. When the Horizon Ascend finally descends into Earth's atmosphere, the world below is unaware of the storm that is coming. The leaders of Earth gather in secret, summoned by the urgent message from Captain Elias Carter. In a dimly lit chamber deep beneath the surface, the truth is unveiled. Maps of the stars are projected onto the walls, marking the Dominion's vast territory. The voices of the leaders, once calm, now tremble with disbelief and anger. The revelation is staggering: humanity is not alone, but it is hopelessly outmatched. The galaxy is ruled by a force so powerful that Earth's survival seems impossible. But humanity has always thrived in the face of adversity. Fear gives way to determination as the leaders, scientists, and military minds unite under a single banner: the Unified Earth Alliance. There is no time to waste. Every resource, every mind, and every ounce of strength is pooled together. The message is clear: Earth will not bow. If the Dominion comes, humanity will be ready. Far from the prying eyes of the world, a hidden base on the moon becomes the heart of Earth's resistance. Beneath the desolate lunar surface, a hive of activity begins to take shape. Engineers and scientists work tirelessly, their hands shaking with exhaustion but their eyes burning with purpose. The Horizon Ascent's encounter with the Dominion has provided invaluable data: weaknesses in their shields, patterns in their energy systems, and insights into their arrogance. These scraps of knowledge are like sparks in the darkness, igniting humanity's ingenuity. The first fruits of their labor emerge in the form of a ship unlike any humanity has ever constructed: the Solar Vanguard. It is a beast of a vessel, its hull gleaming with reinforced alloys and its core pulsing with experimental energy weapons. Larger and faster than anything Earth has ever built, the Solar Vanguard is a symbol of defiance. Its weapons are designed not just to fight, but to exploit the Dominion's overconfidence. The ship's very existence is a statement: humanity will not go quietly into the night. But Earth's preparations do not go unnoticed. In the far reaches of space, the Dominion begins to take note of the small planet that dared to resist. Reports of the Horizon Ascent's escape reach the ears of Sub-Commander Relos Varin, a cunning and ruthless officer of the Dominion. To him, Earth is no more than a nuisance, an insignificant speck in the grand design of the galaxy. Yet, he is tasked with leading a small fleet to annex the planet. It is not a mission of war, but one of dominance, a display of power meant to crush any flicker of rebellion before it can grow. As Relos's fleet begins its journey toward Earth, the skies above the planet remain deceptively calm. But below, the fires of preparation burn brighter than ever. Factories churn out weapons and ships at an unprecedented pace. Soldiers are trained, their faces hardened by the knowledge of what they will face. Across the world, humanity braces itself for the inevitable. In the hidden lunar base, Captain Elias Carter stands before the Solar Vanguard, his hand resting on the cool metal of its hull. Around him, the engineers and scientists pause in their work, their faces lined with exhaustion but glowing with pride. "This is just the beginning," Carter says, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "They think we're weak. They think we're insignificant. But they don't know us. Not yet." The Solar Vanguard stands as a beacon of hope, but also a reminder of the thin line humanity walks. The Dominion is coming, and with them, the weight of an empire that has crushed countless worlds. Yet, in the hearts of those who prepare, there is a spark, a belief that even the smallest flame can burn the brightest in the darkest of times. The dark silence of space is shattered as Sub-Commander Relos Varin's fleet materializes above Earth, their ships like looming shadows against the pale blue orb below. The Dominion vessels are sleek and menacing, their hulls glowing faintly with an eerie energy. From the largest ship, Relos watches Earth through a massive viewport, his expression one of detached superiority. To him, this planet is just another rebellious world to be brought into the fold, another insignificant species to kneel before the Dominion's might. Relos's voice echoes across the void, transmitted to every corner of Earth. His tone is calm but laced with menace, each word carrying the weight of an empire that has crushed countless civilizations. "People of Earth," he begins, his voice cold and unfeeling, "you stand at the edge of annihilation. Submit to the Dominion, and you will be granted protection and prosperity under our rule. Resist, and your planet will burn." On Earth, the message spreads like wildfire. Across cities, towns, and villages, People stop what they're doing to listen, their faces pale with fear. The skies remain deceptively peaceful, but everyone knows what hangs above them: death, waiting to descend at a single command. In the Unified Earth Alliance's war room, General Celeste Navarro stands tall, her sharp eyes fixed on the holographic projection of the Dominion fleet. Around her, the room buzzes with tension, officers and advisors whispering urgent suggestions. But Celeste remains calm, her voice cutting through the noise like steel. She steps forward, her hands clasped behind her back, and speaks directly into the communication system. Her voice is steady, filled with both defiance and unshakable resolve. This is General Celeste Navarro of Earth. We are not afraid of your empire, nor will we bow to your so-called protection. Humanity will not submit to tyranny. If you want our world, you'll have to take it by force. Her words ripple across the planet, igniting both fear and hope. People watch and listen, their hearts pounding. The Dominion's threat is real, but so is humanity's courage. For the first time in history, the world stands united not out of choice, but out of necessity. Reloz's expression hardens as he listens to Navarro's response. "Fools," he mutters, his voice dripping with disdain. He raises a hand, ready to give the order for orbital bombardment, when suddenly, alarms blare across his ship. A Dominion officer shouts, his voice tinged with panic, "Incoming attack! Unknown vessel approaching at high speed." From behind the shadow of Jupiter, the solar vanguard emerges, its massive frame cutting through the darkness like a predator stalking its prey. Its hull gleams with a sharp, metallic brilliance, and its engines blaze with an unnatural light. The ship moves with purpose, its weapons already charging. On board, Captain Elias Carter stands at the helm, his jaw clenched and his eyes burning with determination. "Let's show them what humanity is capable of," he says, his voice low but filled with fire. The solar vanguard strikes first, unleashing a barrage of energy beams that slice through the void and slam into the Dominion fleet. The attack is precise, calculated to exploit the weaknesses discovered from the Horizon Ascents encounter. One Dominion ship is disabled almost instantly, its shields flickering before it drifts lifelessly into space. A second ship follows, its hull rupturing as explosions ripple across its surface. The Dominion fleet scrambles to respond, their weapons firing back in a dazzling display of light and destruction. The Solar Vanguard's newly developed shields hold, but not without strain. Inside the ship, alarms scream and sparks fly as the crew works frantically to maintain control. The battle is fierce, every second stretching into an eternity. Humanity's first war among the stars has begun, and the stakes are nothing less than survival. Eventually, the remaining 3 Dominion ships retreat, their commanders unwilling to risk total annihilation. The Solar Vanguard is left floating amidst the wreckage, its hull scorched and battered but still standing, a testament to humanity's resilience. On board, the crew erupts into cheers, their voices filled with relief and triumph. But the victory is bittersweet. The cost has been high, and the damage to the Solar Vanguard is severe. Captain Carter looks out at the debris, his expression grim. "We've won this battle," he murmurs, "but the war has only just begun." Far away, in the heart of Dominion space, the news of the defeat spreads like wildfire. For the first time in centuries, an empire that has known only dominance is forced to reckon with the possibility of resistance. Fleet Commander Drex Valerian, hearing of the loss, slams his fist against the armrest of his command chair. His voice is a low growl as he vows, "This insult will not stand. Earth will learn what it means to defy the Dominion." As Drex begins assembling a massive fleet, the galaxy seems to hold its breath. The Dominion is coming, and this time, they will not underestimate humanity. But Earth, battered yet unbroken, prepares for the storm. The fires of defiance burn brighter than ever, and in the hearts of its people, there is a single, unyielding truth: they will fight. For freedom. For survival. For the right to exist. The vastness of space stretches endlessly, cold and unfeeling, as humanity begins its desperate search for allies. The Dominion's shadow looms heavy over the galaxy, its reach vast and its tyranny absolute. Yet, in the hidden corners of this endless void, whispers of rebellion flicker like faint stars in the darkness. Humanity, fragile yet defiant, knows it cannot stand alone. And so, the task falls to Victor Langston, Earth's most skilled diplomat, to venture into the unknown and seek help from those who have also suffered under the Dominion's iron rule. Victor's ship, the Elysium, moves silently through the void, its sleek form blending into the blackness like a phantom. Inside, the air is tense, every creak of the ship's hull a reminder of the danger they face. Victor stands in the observation deck, his hands clasped tightly behind his back. His face is calm, but his eyes betray the weight of his mission. He knows the stakes: failure means Earth's annihilation, and success is far from guaranteed. The species he seeks out have lived under Dominion oppression for centuries. Their fear runs deep, their hope nearly extinguished. Convincing them to rise against their oppressors is a monumental task, but Victor is determined. The first contact is with the Sylvans, a plant-like species whose homeworld was stripped of its resources by the Dominion long ago. The Sylvans are a quiet, contemplative people, their forms resembling towering trees with glowing veins of green light running through their bark-like skin. Victor meets with their leader, Elder Thaloran, in a dense, bioluminescent forest on their hidden refuge planet. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and the soft hum of alien life. Thaloran's voice is deep and resonant, like the rustling of ancient leaves. "Why should we fight?" he asks, his glowing eyes fixed on Victor. "We have survived by hiding, by enduring. To rise against the Dominion is to invite our destruction." Victor steps forward, his voice steady but filled with passion. "You've endured, yes. But at what cost? Hiding hasn't saved your people, it's kept you in chains. The Dominion doesn't care about your survival. They will find you eventually, and when they do, they will finish what they started. But together, we can fight. Together, we can win." For a long moment, silence fills the forest. Then, slowly, Thaloran extends a branch-like hand. "We will join you," he says, his voice heavy with both fear and resolve. "But know this, the Sylvans are few, and our strength is fragile. If we fall, it will be the end of my people." From the Sylvans, the Elysium travels to the barren, rocky world of the Dracari, a reptilian species known for their fierce warriors. The Dracari live in vast underground cities, their world's surface scorched and lifeless from centuries of Dominion bombardment. Victor descends into their labyrinthine tunnels, the air thick with heat and the faint scent of sulfur. The Dracari leader, Warlord Korok, is a towering figure, his scaled body rippling with muscle and his eyes like burning embers. Korok's voice is a low growl, filled with suspicion. "You ask much of us, human. To defy the Dominion is to invite death. Why should we risk everything for your cause?" Victor meets Korok's gaze, unflinching. "Because you've already lost everything," he says, his voice firm. "Your people live like prisoners in their own world. The Dominion has taken your sky, your freedom, your future. But if you fight with us, you can take it back. Not just for yourselves, but for every species they've enslaved." Korik's eyes narrow, and for a moment, Victor fears he has failed. But then, the warlord lets out a low, rumbling laugh. You have fire, human. And perhaps fire is what we need. He extends a clawed hand. The Drakari will fight. The final stop is the most dangerous. The Orion, a species of pure energy, are beings of legend, rarely seen and even more rarely understood. Their home is a swirling nebula of vibrant colors, a place where the laws of physics seem to bend and twist. The Elysium ventures deep into this alien realm, its sensors overwhelmed by the chaotic energy. Victor steps out into the nebula, encased in a protective suit, his surroundings a kaleidoscope of light and motion. The Orion appear as shifting forms of energy, their voices a symphony of harmonic tones that resonate in Victor's mind. Their leader, known only as Elisar, speaks directly into his thoughts. Why do you seek us, mortal? We are but whispers, fleeting and fragile. What can we offer against the Dominion's might? Victor closes his eyes, focusing on the emotions behind his words. Because even whispers can become a roar when joined together. You've seen what the Dominion does. They destroy. They consume. But you, your people, are light itself. You are hope in its purest form. Join us, and let that hope shine brighter than their darkness. For a moment, the Orions seem to flicker, their forms dimming. Then, Elisar's voice returns, softer but resolute. We will stand with you, human. But know this, we are few, and our strength is fleeting. Use it wisely. With the Sylvans, the Drakari, and the Orion united, Victor returns to Earth, his heart heavy with both hope and fear. The alliance is fragile, held together by the thinnest threads of trust and desperation. Together, the humans and their new allies form a fleet of 15 ships, a pitiful force compared to the Dominion's armada. But as the ships gather in the shadow of the moon, their forms silhouetted against the stars, there is a sense of something greater. These 15 ships, fragile and outnumbered, represent more than just a fleet. They are a symbol of defiance, of unity, of hope. And as the final preparations begin, Victor Langston stands on the bridge of the Solar Vanguard, looking out at the assembled fleet. His voice is quiet, but filled with determination. We are small, he says. But together, we are strong. And no matter what comes, we will fight. For Earth. For freedom. For the future. The stillness of the solar system is shattered as the Dominion fleet emerges from the depths of hyperspace, their arrival like a storm breaking across a calm sea. 35 warships, each a monolith of destruction, glide into formation with a precision that speaks of centuries of conquest. At the fleet's heart looms the eternal judgment, a dreadnought so massive it eclipses the stars behind it, its hull dark and jagged like the blade of an ancient executioner. The ship emanates power, its energy cores glowing faintly with a crimson light that seems to pulse like a heartbeat, steady, unrelenting, and cold. On the bridge of the eternal judgment, Supreme Commander Zephyr Kale stands motionless, his presence commanding and otherworldly. His silver armor gleams under the dim light of the command deck, and his piercing eyes scan the holographic display of the solar system before him. At his side, Fleet Commander Drex Valerian, a figure of raw brutality and cunning, smirks as he observes the meager allied fleet awaiting them near Earth's orbit. 15 ships, Drex scoffs, his voice a low growl. They dare to challenge us with this, rabble. Zephyr does not respond immediately. His gaze lingers on the distant blue dot of Earth, his expression unreadable. Finally, he speaks, his voice calm and laced with quiet menace. They have chosen defiance. Let us remind them of the cost. As the Dominion fleet advances, the Allied ships hold their ground, their formations tight and deliberate. The Solar Vanguard, Earth's flagship, leads the charge, its hull battered from previous battles but still standing as a symbol of humanity's resilience. Beside it, the alien ships of the Sylvans, Dracari, and Orion form a protective crescent, their designs alien and beautiful in their own ways, the Sylvan vessels glowing with bioluminescent green, the Dracari ships bristling with jagged weaponry, and the Orion crafts shimmering like living light. Aboard the Solar Vanguard, Captain Elias Carter watches the Dominion fleet approach, his jaw tight and his heart pounding. He knows the odds, they all do. But there is no room for fear now. Turning to his crew, he speaks with a voice steady and firm. This is it. They think they can crush us with their numbers, their power. But they don't understand what they're up against. We fight for more than survival. We fight for freedom. For everything they've taken from us and everything we'll take back. The Dominion strikes first. The Eternal Judgment unleashes a barrage of energy beams that streak across the void, their light swallowing the darkness. The Allied fleet responds in kind, their weapons firing in a chaotic symphony of defiance. The battle begins with a fury that shakes the stars. Despite their overwhelming size and firepower, the Dominion fleet finds itself facing an enemy unlike any they've encountered before. The Solar Sentinel, a swift and nimble reconnaissance ship, darts through their formations like a wasp among giants. Its pilot, Lieutenant Aria Vasquez, maneuvers with breathtaking skill, weaving between enemy fire and launching flares that disrupt the Dominion's targeting systems. Her voice crackles over the comms, filled with adrenaline. Let's see how these bastards handle a little chaos. Meanwhile, the Solar Vanguard and its allies focus their fire on key Dominion systems. The Sylvan ships release pods of bioplasmic spores that latch onto enemy hulls, corroding their armor with eerie, glowing tendrils. The Dracari vessels charge headlong into the fray, their weapons roaring as they tear through Dominion shields. The Orion ships, though few in number, unleash bursts of pure energy that ripple through the battlefield like waves, disorienting the enemy. But the most daring maneuver comes from Lieutenant Maya Lin aboard the Solar Bastion, a heavily shielded support ship. As Dominion fighters swarm toward her vessel, Maya orders her crew to activate the ship's experimental stellar pulse system. The shields of the Solar Bastion flare with an intense light, gathering energy until they release a massive electromagnetic wave that ripples outward. The wave slams into the Dominion ships, shorting out their systems and leaving several vessels adrift. Maya grips the edge of her console, her knuckles white, as the strain of the maneuver threatens to tear her ship apart. Hold together, she whispers, her voice trembling. Just a little longer. The Allied fleet fights with a ferocity born of desperation, their unconventional tactics catching the Dominion off guard. The Solar Vengeance, a warship armed with devastating railguns, becomes a beacon of destruction. Its weapons fire with deafening precision, each shot tearing through Dominion ships like a hammer through glass. Commander Darius Holt, the ship's captain, barks orders with unrelenting intensity, his voice echoing across the bridge. Target their engines. Leave them dead in the water. Yet, for all their ingenuity and courage, the Allied fleet cannot escape the brutal reality of war. The Dominion's sheer numbers and overwhelming firepower begin to take their toll. One by one, Allied ships are destroyed, their fiery deaths lighting up the void. The Solar Sentinel, its hull breached by a Dominion cruiser, spirals out of control before exploding in a burst of light. Aria's last words over the comms are a defiant cry, for Earth. Aboard the Eternal Judgment, Drex Valerian watches the battle with growing frustration. They fight like cornered animals, he snarls, his fists clenched. but animals are still prey. Zephyr Kale remains silent, his expression cold and calculating. His eyes flicker to the holographic display, noting the damage to their fleet. "Do not underestimate them," he says quietly. "Desperation makes them dangerous. But it will not save them." As the battle rages on, the Allied fleet grows smaller, their losses mounting. Yet, even in the face of annihilation, they refuse to yield. Each ship, each crew member, fights with everything they have, their courage burning brighter than the stars around them. The Solar Vanguard, battered but unbroken, charges toward the Eternal Judgment, its weapons blazing. Captain Carter knows it's a suicide run, but he doesn't hesitate. "If this is the end," he says, his voice steady, "then let it be a beginning. For Earth. For all of us." The battle hangs on a knife's edge, the outcome uncertain. The Dominion's might is overwhelming, but the Allied fleet's defiance burns like a wildfire, refusing to be extinguished. And in the heart of the chaos, hope flickers, a fragile, stubborn light that refuses to die. The battle rages on, a cosmic tempest of fire and fury, as the Solar Bastion, Earth's newest and most formidable flagship, maneuvers through the chaos. Its sleek hull glistens with the scars of combat, yet it moves with a grace that belies its size. At its helm, Admiral Marcus Steele stands resolute, his eyes fixed on the looming shadow of the Eternal Judgment. The dreadnought, though battered, still commands an aura of terrifying power, its presence a dark omen against the backdrop of distant stars. Inside the Solar Bastion, the atmosphere is tense, every crew member acutely aware of the stakes. The ship vibrates with the hum of engines pushed to their limits, the air thick with the scent of ozone from overworked systems. Admiral Steele's voice cuts through the tension, calm and authoritative. "This is our moment. We pushed them back, but to break their hold, we must strike at their heart." The Solar Bastion surges forward, its advanced systems whirring into action. New weapons, developed in secrecy and desperation, are unleashed against the Eternal Judgment. Beams of concentrated energy slice through the void, targeting the dreadnought's command systems with pinpoint accuracy. The impact is immediate and devastating. Panels flicker and die, conduits explode in showers of sparks, and the once mighty vessel shudders as its control systems falter. On the bridge of the Eternal Judgment, Supreme Commander Zephyr Kale feels the tremors beneath his feet, his expression one of cold fury. The holographic displays around him flicker with static, and alarms blare a discordant symphony of chaos. He watches as his fleet, once an unstoppable force, crumbles under the relentless assault of the Allied ships. His hand clenches into a fist, the weight of defeat pressing heavily upon him. "Commander Valerian," Zephyr intones, his voice steady despite the turmoil, "order the retreat. We will not be vanquished here." Drex Valerian, his face a mask of barely contained rage, nods sharply. "As you command, Supreme Commander." The order is given, and the Dominion ships, what remains of them, begin to pull back, their retreat a bitter acknowledgement of their failure. The Allied fleet, though victorious, bears the scars of battle. Ships drift lifelessly, their hulls breached and burning. The void is littered with debris, the remnants of both friend and foe. The victory is hard won, and its cost is painfully clear. Aboard the Solar Bastion, Admiral Steele surveys the battlefield, his heart heavy with both triumph and sorrow. The losses are staggering, the price of survival etched into the faces of his crew. Yet, amidst the wreckage, there is a flicker of hope, a belief that they have struck a blow not just for Earth, but for all who suffer under the Dominion's tyranny. As the adrenaline of battle fades, a somber silence settles over the Allied fleet. The realization of what they have achieved, and what they have lost, sinks in. Admiral Steele addresses his crew, his voice filled with both pride and caution. We have won today, but this is only the beginning. The Dominion will return, stronger and more determined than before. We must be ready. We must rebuild. For Earth, and for the future we fight to protect. The victory, though costly, is a testament to the resilience and courage of those who dared to stand against overwhelming odds. As the Allied ships regroup and tend to their wounded, the stars watch silently, witnesses to a battle that has become legendary story of defiance, sacrifice, and the unyielding spirit of those who refuse to be conquered. The galaxy stirred with a new energy, an awakening that had not been felt in generations. News of Earth's victory spread like wildfire, carried on secret transmissions and whispered in the shadows of occupied worlds. It was more than just a story of defiance, it was proof that the Dominion, the seemingly invincible empire that had ruled with an iron fist, could bleed. And if it could bleed, it could be defeated. On Tyran Prime, a world cloaked in perpetual smog where the Dominion's factories churned endlessly, the embers of rebellion began to burn. In the depths of the industrial undercity, where the air was thick with soot and despair, a group of resistance leaders gathered in a hidden chamber. The room was small and dimly lit, the walls damp with condensation, but the air was charged with purpose. A holographic image of Earth's flagship, the Solar Bastion, flickered in the center of the room, casting ghostly light on the determined faces of those present. "They've done it," one of the leaders said, his voice hoarse but resolute. "Earth has broken their chains. If they can stand against the Dominion, so can we." The others nodded, their fear giving way to hope. Plans were drawn that night, plans for sabotage, for uprisings, for the first steps toward freedom. Outside, the ever-present hum of Dominion machinery continued, oblivious to the storm that was about to rise. On the verdant world of Sylvan, where towering trees stretched into the sky like emerald spires, the Sylvan Council convened beneath the ancient canopy. The air was alive with the songs of birds and the rustle of leaves, but the mood was solemn. The council members, their robes adorned with intricate patterns of gold and green, sat in a circle around a sacred pool that shimmered with an inner light. "Earth's victory is a sign," said Elder Lyres, her voice soft yet filled with conviction. "The Dominion's grasp is not as unbreakable as we once believed. We have the strength of the forests, the wisdom of our ancestors. Now is the time to rise." The others murmured their agreement, and the decision was made. The Sylvans would no longer remain passive. They would fight, not just for themselves, but for all who suffered under the Dominion's tyranny. Meanwhile, on Earth, the celebrations of victory were tempered by the grim reality of what lay ahead. In the sprawling chambers of the Global Coalition, leaders from every nation and faction gathered to determine humanity's next move. The room was vast, its high ceilings adorned with banners representing Earth's united front. The air buzzed with tension as voices rose and fell in heated debate. "We must focus on our defenses," argued General Harker, his grizzled face lined with worry. "The Dominion will not take this defeat lightly. They'll come back stronger, and if we're not ready, they'll crush us." But across the table, Ambassador Ilarava stood, her presence commanding. "And if we wait, we'll give them time to recover," she countered, her voice steady but impassioned. "This is our chance to strike while they're weak. We've shown the galaxy that resistance is possible. Now we must lead the charge." The debate raged on, but one thing was clear: humanity could not afford complacency. In the shipyards orbiting Earth and its allied colonies, the work of rebuilding had already begun. Massive vessels, their skeletal frames glowing with the light of welding torches, began to take shape. Engineers and scientists worked side by side, their minds racing to incorporate alien technologies salvaged from the battlefield. These new ships would be faster, stronger, and more advanced than anything humanity had ever built before. In the midst of this flurry of activity, there was a sense of unity that had not been felt in centuries. People from all walks of life came together, driven by a shared purpose. Soldiers trained tirelessly, their faces set with determination. Scientists pushed the boundaries of what was possible, fueled by the knowledge that their work could tip the scales in the battles to come. Even ordinary citizens contributed, whether by forging weapons, tending to the wounded, or simply offering words of encouragement to those on the front lines. And yet, amidst the hope and determination, there was an undercurrent of unease. The Dominion was wounded, but not defeated. Its fleets, though scattered, still posed a formidable threat. Its leaders, humiliated by the loss, would undoubtedly seek revenge. Admiral Marcus Steele, the hero of the Solar Bastion, knew this better than anyone. From his command post, he watched the stars with a heavy heart, knowing that the war was far from over. "The galaxy is waking up," he said quietly to his second-in-command, his gaze fixed on the endless expanse of space. "But so is the Dominion. We've lit a fire, but now we have to keep it burning. If we falter, even for a moment, everything we've fought for will be lost." Across the galaxy, that fire burned brightly. On countless worlds, from the icy plains of Vorik to the desert wastelands of Kalos, people began to rise. They dismantled Dominion outposts, sabotaged supply lines, and rallied their fellow citizens to the cause. The Dominion, once a monolithic force, now found itself stretched thin, its resources and resolve tested as never before. But the road ahead was long, and the cost of freedom would be steep. On Earth, in the council chambers, the leaders of humanity made their decision. They would not wait for the Dominion to strike again. They would take the fight to the stars, not as conquerors, but as liberators. The galaxy was awakening, and humanity would stand at the forefront of this new dawn, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the first of the new ships prepared to launch, their engines glowing like miniature suns, a sense of purpose filled the hearts of all who watched. The stars, once distant and indifferent, now seemed closer, almost alive with possibility. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, and though the path was uncertain, one thing was clear: they would not walk it alone. The galaxy was stirring, and with it came the promise of a future worth fighting for. The Dominion capital was a place of cold magnificence, a city of towering spires and gleaming obsidian walls that seemed to pierce the heavens themselves. The air was heavy with the weight of power, the kind that had ruled unchallenged for centuries. But now, cracks had begun to form in the foundation of that power, and the ruling council gathered in a chamber that echoed with unease. The chamber was vast and circular, its high vaulted ceiling adorned with intricate carvings depicting the Dominion's conquests. A dim, eerie light filtered through crystalline windows, casting jagged shadows across the polished black floor. At the center of the room stood Grand Strategist Lysera Vynn, her tall figure draped in flowing robes of deep crimson. Her sharp, angular features betrayed no emotion, but her golden eyes burned with intensity as she addressed the council. "Humanity is unlike any foe we have faced," she began, her voice calm but laced with warning. "They are not the strongest, nor the most advanced, but they possess something far more dangerous: the ability to adapt, to innovate, and to inspire others to rise." Her words hung in the air like a storm cloud, and the council members shifted uncomfortably in their ornate seats. Across the room, voices rose in dissent. A hulking figure clad in dark armor slammed his fist against the table, the sound reverberating like thunder. "We should crush them now, before their rebellion spreads any further," he growled, his deep voice filled with fury. "Show them the price of defiance." But others were not so certain. A slender counselor with silver-tipped horns leaned forward, her voice measured and thoughtful. "Perhaps negotiation is the wiser path," she suggested. "If we destroy them, we risk turning them into martyrs. The galaxy already whispers of their victory. What if we could turn them to our side instead?" The room erupted into chaos, voices clashing like swords on a battlefield. Some called for total annihilation, their fear of humanity's potential masked by bravado. Others urged caution, warning that the Dominion's resources were already stretched thin. Lysera stood silently amidst the turmoil, her expression unreadable. But deep within, she felt the weight of inevitability pressing down on her. Humanity had changed the game, and the Dominion would never be the same. Far across the galaxy, on Earth, the mood was entirely different. The Allied fleet, a patchwork of human and alien vessels, hung in orbit like a constellation of hope. Below, in the heart of Earth's largest military base, Admiral Marcus Steele prepared to address the fleet. The Great Hall was packed with soldiers, engineers, and leaders from every corner of the Alliance. The air was thick with anticipation, a quiet hum of determination rippling through the crowd. Admiral Steele stood tall on the raised platform, his uniform crisp and his face weathered by years of battle. His piercing gaze swept over the crowd, and for a moment, there was silence. Then he began to speak, his voice steady and strong, carrying the weight of the moment. "We stand here today because we dared to believe in something greater than ourselves," he said, his words cutting through the stillness like a blade. "We've shown the galaxy that freedom is worth fighting for, that even the mightiest empire can be challenged when we stand united." His voice grew firmer, filled with conviction. "The Dominion will come for us again. They will try to break us, to silence us, to make us fear. But we will not falter. We will not bow. We will be ready." The crowd erupted into cheers, their voices rising like a tidal wave. Steele's words had lit a fire in their hearts, a fire that would not be extinguished. He looked out at them, at the faces of those who had already sacrificed so much, and felt a surge of pride. They were more than soldiers, they were a symbol of hope for a galaxy that had long been shrouded in darkness. Above them, the Allied fleet glimmered against the backdrop of space. Ships of every shape and size, forged by different hands and cultures, now stood together as one. Their hulls reflected the light of Earth's sun, creating a kaleidoscope of colors that seemed to dance across the void. It was a sight that spoke of unity, of resilience, and of a future that was no longer dictated by fear. As the fleet began its preparations, the stars stretched endlessly beyond them, vast and unknowable. Somewhere out there, the Dominion was regrouping, plotting its next move. But humanity and its allies were no longer the same. They had tasted victory, and with it, the realization that the galaxy was not as unchangeable as they had once believed. This was the dawn of a new era, a time when the oppressed could rise, when the chains of tyranny could be broken. The galaxy itself seemed to shimmer with possibility, as if it, too, had been awakened by humanity's defiance. And though the road ahead would be fraught with danger, one truth was clear: the Dominion's reign of unquestioned power was over. The galaxy had begun to dream of freedom, and no force in the universe could stop it now.